Hello everybody, back again with another review video. Today's video is going to be over the DC Multiverse Sportsmaster Platinum Edition. Although, funny story, it may say Platinum Edition, but it's pretty much a general release. There is no other alternative or regular version to this figure. So it was just one of those like exclusive ones to, like the packaging details overall or in a package. But yeah, it seems like they're being pretty easily found, or at least decently found across the US at least. But enough ramble of that. I'm glad to have this guy. I got mine from AliExpress, I believe for about 30 bucks. That also included shipping. So a pretty good deal, especially because it allowed me to save on gas and not have to go through the excruciating search once again. But going into the actual package, 12 plus, just like every other figure. And then you got the 22 moving parts here at the top. Moving on to the side, you're going to see Sportsmaster, DC Classic, DC Multiverse there at the top. And moving on to the back, like I said, I got mine from AliExpress, so I have all these stickers all over it. But let me see if I can just easily peel this off to show the artwork. Alright, there's no success really getting off that bigger sticker. I tried, as you can see, based on the edges and how beat up now they look. It's pretty firmly on there, but you have the general look of the artwork, and it'll be shown on the card later on. Pretty nice artwork, I actually really like it. Yes, I used to play baseball growing up, so it's cool to see just like, him being Sportsmaster and having a baseball bat and baseballs as I'm assuming his weapons. I don't know much about this character because I don't really read comics, and also so far the animations or just kind of like shows I've watched haven't really involved Sportsmaster in general yet. But it's nice to see and get a different character. I really like this artwork, like I just mentioned. I love just the colors, how it doesn't look, I guess, like too comic-y, but good balance between animated and kind of like a comic look in general. So great artwork here. And moving on to the last side, you're going to get DC Multiverse Sportsmaster once again, QR code there. And then at the bottom, you're going to have the barcode. I almost struggle every time I almost say QR code, just because I'm used to saying QR code. But there's the barcode for those who may be searching. With that being said, let me actually get out the figure and go over what it contains. The first thing that you're going to get is a display stand. Same old, time and time again, we get it constantly, so not much else to go over with that. Then when it comes to the accessories, since he is actually a Sportsmaster, you're going to get a baseball bat, which is pretty cool, pretty unique. I think this is the first figure I have where it's like a baseball bat, which, as it should be, it goes along with his name and goes around, basically matches what he's about, so that's fantastic, and matches the actual photo they use, so that's cool. Then you're gonna get a long hockey puck as well. I'll see eventually how it fits in the hand, but yeah, pretty nice. Not much detail going on, pretty plain and simple. Just got the nice texture there at the top, and then a little bit here at the bottom when it comes to the actual handle area, so that is nice as well. And then here is the actual card with the art kind of more exposed since there was the label over it a bit on the box. But it's very nice. Like I said, I like the artwork, fantastic. And yeah, the bat matches pretty much what's used there, even though it may not be like a black or purple kind of color, like kind of look like on the art style there, but it is nice. And since I haven't really watched any media that includes this character in general yet, I'm going to read up on the actual descriptions. The real name is Lawrence Kroc. Lawrence Kroc could turn his hand to any sport, but his obsession with winning saw him cripple a football player, ending his professional career. Instead, he turned to crime, attempting to rob a polo match before adopting costume identity Sportsmaster. Kroc joined the Injustice Society and struck up a fruitful partnership, criminal and romantic, with Huntress, originally Tigress. So that is very cool to read up on. Now, interesting story, and the reason you're all here, not for the interesting story really, because that was unexpected, but for the actual figure. So funny enough, mine actually, the peg, first time probably like I had a major issue, I guess, with quality control, besides just small things such as just potentially some loose parts and whatnot. But this one, the peg was actually sticking out, in terms of this part was loose, so it was off to the side a little bit, and the peg was it was stuck through the mid section but was not stuck through this. And let's just say it took about 2 hours of trying to adjust it and finally get the fix. So that was a big disappointment. It really sucked. Yeah, it was just a big disappointment. So now the peg, you can tell kind of what I did with it, and I was messing with it. So you can see how it's a little beat up. The same goes for this side. It's a little beat up. So I was using a sharp tool, but now in the future, I've kind of like in a page I was on, was recommended to use these other type of tools. So maybe in the future, but hopefully I don't have to get those tools, because you should not have to deal with quality control issues like that. But anyways, it's nice to finally get that fixed. Sucks that the little pegs are beat up, but you're not really going to pay attention to that anyways. But yeah, going into it, you're going to get a nice look. I actually like this paint scheme, and I forgot the exact Batman, but this is almost the same reuse as, I believe it's like, I forgot the specific name, but it's like the Detective Batman. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure the name's not Detective Batman, but it's like, I forgot the name, but it is pretty much that figure. Uses the same armor, pretty sure same arms, same legs, so a big reuse. There should probably be more differences, and not be an exact reuse, but it fits pretty well, so it makes sense for the reuse. So yeah, it makes sense. But I really like the detail. I love the actual head there. How it's beat up, adds some little kind of scarring look to it. The eyes, if you're kind of in there, you can kind of see them. May not be the best in terms of paint application, but yeah, it's not going to be very noticeable at all. So that's cool to see, I guess. And when it comes to the head, you're gonna get a nice texture for the hair. It kind of has a orange paint scheme to it, or brownish on top of the yellow to make it more like hair. But yeah, really love the actual face sculpt in general. It looks fantastic. The eyes, like I said, are kind of hidden underneath, so it's hard to see, even though they look a little messed up, but not too much. You're gonna get the little armor kind of scraping there. You can tell it's worn, beat up. In general, same kind of goes down here. There's some kind of gray going on, or the silver paint or wash, I guess you can say, and also down here on the boots. So that's cool to see. Like I said, it is kind of a reuse from a previous Batman figure. But yeah, paint application is pretty darn good. Makes sense. Looks a little bland here in the back. So that seems to be a little disappointment. They probably should have added more kind of another wash to it to make it look worn, because it kind of just looks like a generic molded piece that was applied on there with no paint. So yeah, it looks a little weird, even though it does match kind of torso color in a way. Looks to be a little different, but not too much. But yeah, overall I think they did a pretty decent job in terms of the paint application and just kind of detail in general, because there's not much going on with this armor. Very simplistic in a way, not super simplistic, but yeah, really like the face sculpt, so that's a big plus on this figure overall. That being said, let's get into the actual articulation. So when it comes to the arms, mine is pretty loose because, like I said, it took a lot of trying to adjust and play with the legs to get that peg in all the way. But yes, you can do a T-pose. And then when it comes to arm movement, going around, perfectly fine. I don't know why I'm on the arms, I skipped the head, so I'll get back to the head. That's the first time I've ever done that. But yeah, when it comes to the actual arm, perfectly fine as well, bends really well. And when it comes to the actual hand, you're gonna be able to raise it up. This may not be the best. Let me see here. Trying to find the peg you can usually see. Bumping into the camera here. Trying to move the hand down, but can't even figure out where the Can't even figure out where the freaking thing is or how it's gonna bend. Seems like it doesn't really want to move. Okay, so I see it now. It's gonna be kind of hard to get it without moving the hand. Okay, I think I got it. So down looks like it doesn't really do much, maybe that much, and then raising it up. Raise up. I don't know. This much, I can't tell. Pretty sure I had it aligned right, but it seems like it just does not want to move. So that's kind of a negative. Doesn't seem like there's much movement at all in the actual wrist area there, besides being able to rotate it. But like I said, it doesn't seem like it wants to go up or down. So that's a disappointment. And then here you can see a little, like, the gap kind of being exposed right here. Doesn't really seem like the little, I'm just gonna call it like little butterfly flap or whatever flap in general that should cover that. Doesn't seem like it wants to move either. Seems like it's just stuck in place for some reason. That's another negative. I think that should always be at least working to the point where it covers the top a bit. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it wants to budge at all either. And when it comes to the actual head, finally get into the head. Rotation, perfectly fine. And then when it comes to looking down, you can look down this much, look up this much, and yes, you can go up, down, around, full 360, no issue there. Here you went through the T-pose. Also too, it does have the actual bicep there, swivel, so that's a good addition at least. Potentially to possibly make up the wrist here. Like I said, don't know if that's just mine, but it seems like it doesn't really want to move. And when it comes to the actual articulation, when it comes to bicep crunch or just bend it back, it does that. It does kind of expose there. You can see the black underneath with the paint. So that kind of sucks, and that's not really covered up there. And when it comes to forward, go pretty forward a good amount, as you can see, but it does start to expose the underneath part here. So that's another negative, I would say. And yes, though, it can rotate perfectly fine. So that's good to see. And when it comes to the actual splits, there we go. Pretty much the furthest it can go. Not the best, not the greatest, but it is pretty much stops because of the belt here. Which, by the way, great detail on the belt, so that's fantastic. And also, it does have a little, what do I want to call it? A little cut here, so that's nice, more rotation there. And when it comes to the actual knee, perfectly fine, get it all the way. The only thing is that when it comes to this cut right here, it does kind of suck. It seems like it's not really hidden very well. Just a big slash across. So that does partially suck in a way, since it is exposed that much. In general, it doesn't really seem to be too well hidden by any means. It seems like the diaper also wants to come a little unadjusted, so probably have to fix that later. But I'll just keep going along with it. There we go. And when it comes to the actual foot, here we go, side to side, up this much, and down this much, so you can see. And then when it comes to the toe, perfectly fine, just like every other figure usually is. But yeah, with that being said, let me kind of adjust him, pose him, and come back with my final thoughts. When it comes to this figure, I do find it to be very uneasy trying to pose it, especially these cuts. It is nice to have the extra articulation, but it looks weird when the two halves are not aligned. So that's something I feel like should probably just removed from the previous sculpts. Yes, it saves them money, but it just seems very, very odd when you try to pose it. And for me, yeah, I just had to adjust it every time to make sure it lined up because it did look too weird for me. But adding on to a positive, at least, I love the texturing they did, or just paint in general, to make it look worn and beat up overall. But I do kind of wish that was carried on more throughout the midsection here in general. And then when it comes to the bat and accessories, I do love the bat. It's my favorite accessory in general. But I wish the actual hand right here had an alternative, so therefore you could at least hold both the hockey stick and the bat. You didn't have to decide between one, because you only have this one hand to hold one item. And the highlight of this figure is the actual face sculpt. I really enjoy how they did it. Very nicely worn down look. Looks amazing and very intimidating for this figure. And character, very matching. Overall, it did suck though that, like I said, the hand didn't seem like it wants to adjust too much, but it kind of is made up by the, I guess, bicep cut there. And another small thing is just the fact that this flap does not really do much justice or try to cover the upper part when you try to pose. So that does seem like a little kind of like flaw to the figure. But in terms of the overall appearance, I think it looks pretty good for what it is. Yes, there's only one version of this figure, even though it shows platinum. I feel like the platinum's getting a little too carried away with here. Recently, it seems to be everything's a platinum, or has a platinum in general. So yeah, just kind of losing the meaning in general. But I'm glad to have gotten mine from AliExpress, although it did come with a price, such as dealing with 3 hours trying to get this issue solved for mine, even though it looks a little beat up. But you won't really look at for that much or too long in general on display. When it comes to my rating, I'd say this figure is unique, looks decent. The articulation at times doesn't make sense or doesn't do it enough, so I have to say probably an 8.2 out of 10. A little disappointed, to be honest, not because of the 3-hour experience and issue in general, because not everyone's going to deal with that, but just because some of the articulation is weird, doesn't line up, like I said, there on the legs, the little cut there, the hand not be able to move, the not having an extra hand in general to hold both items. But pretty much, yeah, everything's kind of carried on by the little paint application there at the top of the torso and the actual head sculpt. So yeah, this figure is all right, but I feel like it's not a huge kind of, you know, miss if you weren't able to pick it up or find it for a reasonable price. But that is pretty much my opinion. You may enjoy it a whole bunch, but yeah, that's just what I think about it. That's going to wrap up today's review. If you did like this review, please like, comment, subscribe down below for more future content. But until then, I'll see you with the next review video. Peace out.